Hey guys, happy Monday. Magnetic gels got you down? Maybe they're looking patchy or streaky or just like generally uneven, and you just can't figure out how to get that perfectly smooth finish. I'm here to help. Today, I'm going to show you my top 3 tips on how to make magnetic gels look absolutely flawless every time. Streak free, color even, consistent application. Let's take a look. So, tip number 1 when we are working with magnetic gels is always to perfect your base. Let me show you what I'm talking about. For this example, I'm using a strawberry lemonade base from Nail Thoughts. You can use any base you want. You can use clear. I just thought this would be a cute color combination with the pink that I chose. Now here we can see a nice smooth overlay. Our light lines are really beautiful, uninterrupted. There's no inconsistencies here. So when we apply our magnetic gel over this, we're going to have a very smooth application, and the magnetic particles are going to have a much easier time activating and moving. If I bring in this one, which we can see is very broken up, if we are applying our magnetic gel over top of this, it's going to be much harder to activate and reorganize our magnetic particles over something like this, as opposed to something like this. So this is WM28 from the Water Magnet series, Strawberry Water. And I'm going to paint a nice thin layer over top of this pink base that is nice and smooth. So the one where there are really beautiful light lines, no interruptions, not bumpy at all. That's already adorable, but let's go ahead and activate this with our magnet. I'm going to use the Max Magnet, my favorite, and you will see as I activate these particles, they are moving very uniformly. We can open up all that glitter very nicely. We can activate them. It all looks very, very smooth and even. So we can get that pretty effect very easily. Now let's try over this uneven surface. When you are painting over an uneven surface like this, it is very, very difficult to get an even application of gel color. So I'm finding myself having to press very hard and almost wiggle, because if I do leave some parts with a thicker application of magnetic gel, it's going to give us inconsistencies in the color payoff. But what's more, when I go in and I try to activate using the Max Magnet, all of those inconsistencies are going to show through the activated particles and look really displeasing. So even if I do get those particles all moved towards the middle, it does still end up looking really uneven and patchy. Here's the two side by side. You can see the one looks much smoother, and the one with the uneven surface is giving us a little bit more trouble. I'm going to switch to a clear tip here so we can talk about getting that perfect streak-free application of these magnetic gels. So say I'm just doing one layer, and I'm going to go in with my magnet and activate it straight away. This layer that I've applied is a little streaky to begin with. It's a little bit thicker, and I'm going to show you when we activate this with the magnet, all of those streaks are still going to show through very much, and it's going to be really difficult to make them dissipate. If you ever do a magnetic gel application and you don't love it, you do not need to wipe it off and reattempt. All you have to do is brush it back out. You can reset all of those particles and try again. And this time, what we're going to do is brush this out nice and thin. I'm going to remove a little bit of the excess gel from my brush as I'm brushing it out. And we're going to work to make sure that we have a nice even layer that is as thin as we can get it, because this is going to help us get a really, really even application and even effect out of our magnetic gel. So now with this thin layer, once we go ahead and activate all of these particles, you'll see that it's going to be much easier to get that really, really smooth finish, looking much more like we want it to look without much effort at all. Another trick, if you are really struggling with uneven or streaky magnetic gel, before you go ahead and activate all of those particles, what you can do is just deactivate them. So you can hold your magnet underneath, or you can just wave your magnet over, and then just work your way from the side and wake those particles back up, move them on back over. And this really does make a difference in smoothing out the surface of the nail and removing any streakiness. One more example here. So this is one layer of the strawberry water over clear. This is where we deactivated the particles and then brought them back and created our light chaser effect. I'm going to go in and do a second layer, because sometimes when we do this, because a lot of the base colors of these magnetic gels are sheer, they're that jelly kind of glassy consistency to give it a lot of depth. Sometimes you can be tempted to do 2 layers. So if I do the second layer and I go ahead and activate all of my particles and I create my effect, what can happen is sometimes If the effects aren't perfectly layered one over the other, you can get kind of a diminished effect or a doubled effect, which isn't as crisp as some people might want it. So sometimes you may be left with an extra kind of fogginess or an extra shine that may make your effect look a little bit less striking, where maybe you really like the way that the effect looked with just the one layer, but the two layers gives you that color that you want. So we're going to do a little workaround here. We're going to paint one even layer of our magnetic gel color, and we're going to deactivate all of these particles by either just waving straight up the nail. You can also just place your wand right underneath the nail, and it will make everything go flat and turn it into just that jelly color. So that's cured. And now when we go over this with our second coat of the strawberry water magnet and activate it, we're going to have that color payoff from the first layer without the activated effect. So our second layer with the activated effect will be much more striking. And if you wanted to, you could use a jelly color that you already have. But if you want that color to be exactly the way it looks in the bottle, then this is a really great option. So now we'll go over with our second layer. And I will, just to make sure it's nice and even, deactivate from underneath and then pull the glitters back into the frame by working around the side, coming to the other side, and giving myself that nice sharp effect right in the center of the nail. And just like that, it looks way more crisp. You have more color around the sides, and you still have that beautiful sharp effect in the center. So there you go, 3 very solid tips on how to get your magnetic gels looking absolutely flawless. If you're having trouble with this, do not forget to be kind to yourself. Practice, take some time with it. I promise you'll get the hang of it. If you have any questions, we have our comment section down below. Feel free to drop them in there. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay warm out there, and we will see you right back here in another 7 days for another episode of Monday Masters. Take care.